report to the departments listed above to include management and administration of all public safety grants. The PSA is participating today in this vendor fair because we know how important it is to ensure that the information is readily available for anyone who seeks to do business with the City of Chicago. So our goal is to actively search for partners to supply goods and services that are needed in our firehouses, our police stations, facilities for our firefighters, police officers, paramedics, call takers, and dispatchers. So we encourage all vendors to take a look and see what goods and services they could offer us. And like any other city government, we do utilize special equipment for our engines and trucks, police cars, and ambulances. But we also have needs for medical and office supplies, cleaning materials, and provisions to maintain our buildings and facilities. In essence, the Office of Public Safety Administration is no different than any other city department. And likewise, we are committed to working with a wide variety of sources for our needs, because it's our goal to work with the Department of Procurement to make sure all potential vendors have access to our system and are treated fairly for contract consideration. And it is my hope today that today's interaction is informative, and I hope everyone future success in their endeavors. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much, Commissioner. With that, I would like to mention that both the Chicago Police Department and Chicago Fire Department leadership equally not only supports all of the efforts in procurement, but has participated as part of the prep sessions for today's presentations, and they have representatives that are going to speak a little bit later about specific opportunities to those departments. With that, if we can advance the slide, we do have representation from Director Walker's Office of Public Safety Administration that will speak to us about some of those specific contracting opportunities. Our representatives from PSA and specifically from the Public Safety Information Technology section are William Ramey, who is a project manager, and Eric Reinhardt, projects administrator. And both of these are experts in our computer-aided dispatch system, the 911, both the radio infrastructure, camera infrastructure, and all the components that fall in line with building out those massive programs. Both these gentlemen will speak to how PSA is going to be integrating with procurement opportunities in the coming year. And these initiatives have been obviously in existence with the city for a long time. And Public Safety Administration, the OPSA office, is now who houses the Public Safety Information Technology component. And therefore, when you see bids coming out in the next year and probably forevermore, the PSA will be who is posting the bids for these IT opportunities, which might be a slight change than what you've seen before when it comes to the actual names on the documentation. Rest assured, it's the same program management and all of the same requests that other departments have made. So with that, I would like to turn it over first to Eric Reinhardt, who will go over some of the initial bid opportunities.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Eric Reinhardt, Project Administrator from the Office of Public Safety Administration. On the screen here, we have several of our larger opportunities that will be occurring within the next, going out over the next couple months to next year. The first one that I will cover is the radio infrastructure. OPSA or PSA is going to be submitting an RFP for radio infrastructure that would cover all of the public safety communication needs throughout. That would be police, fire, our streets and sands partners, and anything along that line for two-way radio communication. Typically, opportunities for vendors in this field would be for the larger system infrastructure, because we have a lot of legacy equipment, as well as any new emerging technologies that we want to integrate in. Smaller vendors in the past have participated in electrical work, fiber, copper backhaul running, wireless backhaul, as well as just general maintenance, PMs, repair of equipment that's been already fielded, as well as just installs when we have new stuff going in. Along that same line, the camera infrastructure RFP that will be going out is very similar in the sense that the opportunities there are mainly along the lines of install, maintenance, and repair, be it backhaul, fiber, transportation. That, as many of you vendors know, all the little pieces that go into a massive project that provide many opportunities for subcontractors or even large vendors to participate in. If I'm going to bypass next gen because Will's 911, because Will speak to that, and I'm just going to continue through mine. But along those lines is the trenching of north of Madison and south of Madison. Those two projects are pretty self-explanatory. And then the public alert weather siren construction, repair, and maintenance. The city maintains over 100 sirens for weather or other emergency notifications around the city, and we will be looking to work with vendors to just provide a support along those lines as well. Will, do you want to, next is Will Ramey, our 911 expert. Okay, I think Will might be running over to my office here. So along these lines, we have several large projects coming up, but like I was saying, there's a lot of small components that some of our other vendors could participate in, and here's Will.
All right, thank you all. So first thing is first, I just wanted to mention that, just wanted to speak about the NG911 migration. Thanks, Eric. All right. So the city is preparing for migration from its current legacy 911 network with limited interoperability to a next-gen 911 network. This network should be built on a standards-based emergency services internet protocol network. We refer to that as EZINet. That will enable seamless interoperability across the region, as well as NG911 compliant PSAP, or a public safety answering point. The city has been working on many levels to ensure smooth migration to the next gen platform. This RFP will be the next step in progressing toward 911 industries in vision of optimal interoperability at both the state and regional levels. All right, so to achieve this vision, the city seeks an innovative contractor to deliver technical and service solutions in compliance with industry standards. The city desires to move aggressively towards implementing an NG911 network and PSAP. This will require several simultaneous activities and will rely on multiple contractors and activities that will need to be seamlessly coordinated with the city's computer-aided dispatch contractor. So real brief, I wanted to speak on some of the network requirements. So one thing that we're going to look for is to make sure that our pending, I guess, contractors will need to ensure that they're offering us a fully functional EZINet service capable of supporting the city's primary and backup locations, and that'll be included in the proposal response. They should also include future connectivity and compatibility with other EZINets. From a PSAP, or public safety answering point, general requirement, we more so look for the applicants to meet or exceed industry standards for quality and reliability. All parts, equipment, materials must be new in new condition, so on and so forth. So look for that RFP to be released really soon, Q4 2020. Last thing I want to mention is the migration plan. So we'll be looking solely to make sure that a NG911 and PSAP migration plan is in place. That'll be most important as our downtime is key for this migration to take place. So without further ado, I'll hand it back over to Natalie.
Thank you very much, Eric and Will. Appreciate you taking the time. And just to highlight for everyone, you know, the level of contracting opportunity that we're talking about here, all of these that the gentleman just mentioned are very large contracts that the city will be putting out. The radios and cameras themselves are upwards of $20 million anticipated as a bid opportunity. Next Gen 911 will probably be close to that, between 10 and 20 million. JOC and the trenching and the weather siren maintenance, somewhere in the $2 to $5 million range. But these are some of the larger programs that the city operates in terms of public safety. And so you should definitely look forward to these opportunities when they finally hit and they're shown on the DPS website. With that, if we can advance the slide, I would like to introduce from the Office of Emergency Management and Communications, Letitia Tubbs, who is one of our experts here in emergency management and is the lead on a program to address vehicular terrorism and one of the bid opportunities for OEMC. Letitia, floor is all yours.
All right. Hello. How are you guys doing? All right. It's always that doggone mute button that gets me every time. Okay. So, of course, I'm with the Office of Emergency Management, the emergency management team. Just giving you some background on what this actually pertains to, the Office of Emergency Management, along with the Mayor's Office, CPD. We created what's called a vehicular or a vehicle task force, also known as our critical infrastructure working group. And this was created to kind of address any emergent or current threats. At that current time, we were seeing, I think this was around 2017, we began to see a lot of vehicle ramming incidents around the world. That brought about conversation with our rental companies and also with our departments to talk about how we can protect the city of Chicago in this aspect. So we created this group and we urge people to start thinking about ways to set up layered or tiered defense systems. And the bollard system is something that was created. And this was just, as I said, a defensive system that kind of delays or defeats and also mitigates potential damage or threat for people or critical infrastructure. So there are two types of bollards that we are considering for the city of Chicago. The first one is the fixed bollards. And those are, the stationary ones. We are looking for what's called the DOD, and they're on the DOD or Department of Defense anti-ram vehicle barrier list, and they are test and crash rated for any vehicle impact. They're also a certain different test that states that they can uphold a certain amount of weight if they're hit. And so we are looking for that type of product, or that quality, of product. And the other one is portable bollards, of course. That is a system that is easily deployable, something that can be stood up in a planned or unplanned event. Those are also crash rated, what we're looking for, and we're looking for a diverse catalog. So something that we can order from multiple different types to be able to set up this protection. The estimated amount of the contract is around possibly 2 million. So this is something that we're looking to expand. Of course, test rated, easily deployable for the portable ones. So we're looking for something that maybe one or two people have to set up in a short amount of time, and it can still be able to be impacted by a vehicle without hurting people or causing damage to facility or infrastructure. And so those are the two things that we are currently looking for. And that's it. That's all I have.
Thank you very much, Letitia. Appreciate that overview. With that, if we can advance the slide, and the next folks on the roster I would like to introduce, representing the Chicago Police Department, we have Joel Brown on the line, who is a Deputy Director at the Office of Public Safety Administration and previously Chicago Police Department. Joel, if you are ready, you can take it away.
Good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of Under Superintendent David Brown and First Deputy Eric Carter, Deputy Superintendent Barbara West, and myself, we would like to welcome everyone to the first virtual vendor fair. Chicago Police Department is seeking the opportunity to get contract to procure some of the following services. One is our K-9 equipment and supply. The next one is transportation for our wheelchair-bound arrestees. We need to procure turkey bologna for our detainees and promotional and wearable items for all of the events that Chicago Police we have. Of course, we also have a variety of other contract opportunities we are looking for, and they are also listed in the Department of Procurement Services buying plan. So please seek out to them and get the information that's required for all of our purchases. On behalf of the Chicago Police Department, we thank everyone for attending. And Natalie, I'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you very much, Joel. Appreciate your time. If we can advance the slides, the last official briefing that we'd like to run through is on behalf of the Chicago Fire Department opportunities, and I believe we have Kevin Pater on the line, if not additional fire department representatives to assist with briefing out on this.
Hi, everybody. My name is Kevin Pater, and I'm currently contract coordinator with the Public Safety Administrations, and I manage the Chicago Fire Department contracts. On behalf of Superintendent Richard Ford II and Deputy Commissioner Annette Nansholt and the whole Chicago Fire Department, I welcome you to this virtual vendor fair. A little background on the Chicago Fire Department. The Chicago Fire Department employs more than 4,500 uniformed firefighters and paramedics, many of whom are cross-trained in the use of nearly 250 pieces of equipment and apparatus, including fire engines, fire trucks, ambulances, squads, helicopters, and marine equipment. The Bureau receives more than 500,000 calls per year for emergency assistance in response to fires, medical emergencies, hazardous material incidents, and other emergency situations to ensure the safety and well-being of Chicago residents and the 28 million visitors who pass through Chicago's airports. All of us here at the Public Safety Administration, Chicago Fire Department, maintain the highest commitment to diversity, transparency, and innovation while continuously expanding the resources and programs that provide the citizens of the City of Chicago contracting opportunities. As the Office of the Public Safety and Chicago Fire Department reviews upcoming procurement opportunities, we are constantly evaluating specifications to find more opportunities for our local businesses. Our upcoming bid opportunities are as follows. Hearst Tools, new parts, accessories, and supplies for Hearst hydraulic rescue equipment and tools. This is for specialized equipment that CFD uses for rescue situations and things of that nature. Our second one is uniform and commissary-related services. Per our collective bargaining agreement, we are required to supply uniforms, PPE, helmets, boots, things of that nature to our members. All of this is done through our commissary. It's a relatively large contract, and we are going to be rebidding that. And we are looking for different opportunities for local businesses to be able to participate in the specification. CBRN, detection and ID-related equipment, is our next specification that will be coming out to bid. CBRN stands for chemical, biological, radiological, and nuclear. This is going to be for new parts, supplies, and repairs. This is highly specialized equipment that goes out to bid probably every 5 or 6 years to get the most up-to-date specifications. So definitely look for that. That should be out the second quarter of 2021. Our next one is household and commercial appliances purchase, repair, and maintenance. The reason why the Chicago Fire Department is the lead on this contract is because we have so many different firehouses that require stoves, refrigerators, microwave ovens, and not only that, but the repair of this equipment. We've been evaluating this specification for more opportunities, local opportunities, and MWBE opportunities also. So look for that one in the second quarter of 2021. Our last one that's coming out relatively soon is our new firefighting rescue vessel that will be used for rescue operations in Lake Michigan. That is our opportunities coming up. But please, this is subject to change, so please review the DPS buying plan as we may have more opportunities coming up over the next several months. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kevin, for that overview and for outlining everything that the fire department has to offer. With that, that really concludes the majority of our presentation component for public safety. As Commissioner Executive Director Walker mentioned at the beginning of the call, all of the contracts team within PSA that's managing all of these public safety contract opportunities are committed to working with all of you and with DPS throughout the rest of this year and all of next year in executing each and every one of these and perhaps additional ones as they become available. So the next slide, I believe, if we advance it, has to offer some links just to keep you in touch with all of the stuff that all of the public safety entities have going on. As you heard, there is a lot between all of them. And so feel free to keep connected on all of the wonderful public outreach and work that public safety agencies are doing. I would now like to turn it back over to Kathy and the DPS team, who's going to talk a little bit more about specifically, I believe, how to get involved and connected if you're interested in these opportunities. And we will stand by as the public safety team for questions at the end. Kathy, all yours.
Thank you so much, Natalie. If you can advance, I think it's like 2 slides even. Thank you so much, the entire public safety units, for all that great look ahead of information. We are really very much committed to transparency and outreach at the Department of Procurement Services. And, when Natalie approached me a couple months ago, how are we going to pivot? How are we going to translate the vendor fair, the OAMC vendor fair that we were doing to this virtual environment? We're all in this kind of boat together to kind of figure out what is, we're all sick of hearing this, what is our new normal, but we're all trying to work to ensure that our vendor community, has as much information in advance as possible. And we're trying to, adjust the training and the workshops and things that we're doing to also be reflective of, what is, how we're all kind of navigating these new processes. So, to that end, we've gotten to get this sneak peek of what are the upcoming opportunities. How do folks, stay in touch, and how do you prepare yourself to be ready to be in a position to be someone who's going to bid on, and earn one of these contracts? So I definitely want to highlight that the Department of Procurement Services does teach workshops on 20 different topics, and they certainly range from, one of our great workshops that we have is how to navigate the DPS website. There's literally thousands of pages of information, but sometimes it's not necessarily intuitive how to find everything, how to learn about, who's had these contracts before, what are standard terms and conditions that the city is going to be looking for. You have all this information at your fingertips. Sometimes it's just not necessarily intuitive how to find it. So the workshops really do, span a wide range of how to navigate these processes, as well as, a deeper dive into what does it mean to be certified, and how you're certified now. What does that mean once you get your certification? How do you use that as a tool to advance your business? So we definitely encourage folks to, to plug into the workshops to learn about navigating those processes. And then this new session that we introduced today, the first look, we also do those sessions with some other key user departments as well, and we're hoping to expand on that, because those are two of the 3 key components that we really are looking at in terms of trying to replicate the outreach that we do into a virtual environment. One, education about how you navigate the processes and what does that mean? And number 2, what is the advanced information, or how do you arm yourself with information about what are those actual opportunities? The kind of the third piece, that shaking of hands that we're all kind of used to, how do we find each other? We encourage you all to stay in touch with all of us in order, as we, figure out how we take that to the next level, how we find a way to find each other. To that end, as a first step, at the conclusion of this workshop, there will be a short survey about it, but also an opportunity for you to leave your name and email address. And because we don't want to share that kind of information without folks' permission, we just want to make sure that if you want to be found for networking, we're figuring out ways to make that happen for you. Rodney, next slide, please. So as was mentioned kind of multiple times during the session, our key transparency initiative is the consolidated buying plan. So this includes information. It looks out, at least 18 months. What are our user departments buying? When they project to advertise that? What are available subcontracting opportunities? If you have a business and you've traditionally worked in this public safety space or are thinking about it, you can really just take a look at, what is the city buying versus what are our sisters, the county, the state purchasing as well. Each of those entities have their own procuring process, but for your convenience, we have the direct links to their procurement sites that should go to their rules and regulations and how to interface with them directly on that. Please be on the lookout for this. Within the next week or two, there will be a new edition of this. So this is our long range look at what's coming out that as folks had mentioned is subject to change, but we put this out so far in advance so that folks are thinking about expanding their business, expanding their certification, maybe starting to work on what might be a good partnership or a joint venture. Having this information in advance, we've heard time and time again from the vendor community, is key to trying to advance, develop your business. That we're actually very proud that this buying plan and this model has been recognized nationally, and there's a number of cities throughout the U.S. That have taken this on too, to just to be able to be as transparent as possible about upcoming opportunities. So stay tuned for this new edition of the buying plan that should be available in the next week or two. Next slide, please. Once a week, we issue a email newsletter, and so that contains the bid opportunity list. So it goes from what is theoretical even in the buying plan to what is a reality. So once a week you can see what's really on the street. When is that pre-bid conference going to take place? And all of that pertinent information. In addition, the DPS alert will tell you about other workshops or outreach events where you can participate in some of that networking. We can't do this alone, and we work with 40 different assist agencies, different partner agencies that are hosting virtual networking sessions or other types of training and classes, often free of charge. So if a partner is providing these kinds of resources to business, we've become the central clearinghouse to get this information out there. Also, I want folks in this meeting to stay tuned. We will be, we've done this first look with public safety, very specialized, but we're also looking to pivot our large-scale vendor fair to a virtual environment. So we're looking to do that in the month of November. So you can hear about the specifics of how to learn about how we're going to virtual vendor fair via DPS alert. Next slide, please. And then also for us, we are on social media as well. So that's our communication strategy. It goes from, the long range look, the once a week, what's really on the street, to daily. It's actually, Rodney who's posting things regularly, whether they're advertised or there's addenda. So that's just another way to kind of, triple ensure that you're kind of staying in touch with what's going on with the city, certainly in terms of upcoming contracting opportunities. So that's just a little bit of a highlight of how to stay in touch, and please stay tuned there'll be more coming in the weeks and months ahead. And with that, I'd like to, open it up for questions from the group. And I'm going to take a look at the Q&A. So I see we have one about one of the earlier projects that was discussed. I think this is for Will and Eric. So regarding the radio and camera infrastructure RFPs, do these include design services or are they construction only?
Yes, these contracts will include professional services. I'm sorry, I missed that in my quick rambling explanation, but yes, these will include professional services as well.
As well as construction.
Correct.
That's great. We just have a question about the presentation. Yes, this presentation will be available after the fact. If you'll give us a day or two to make sure that we, if we need to edit anything out, but just in terms of clean it up. But yes, the presentation will be available. Rodney, correct me if I'm wrong. Both it'll be on our YouTube channel as well as on our DPS website. And we certainly can.
That's correct. We'll have it up after we get the recording and put it to Facebook, and we'll have the presentation at chicago.gov/DPS events.
Got it. So both of those places. So you can see it on our YouTube channel. That address is on the screen right now, or at the site where folks registered. And Rodney, if you can, I don't know if you answer in the Q&A or in the chat. So question, any advertising opportunities?
So this is Natalie. I can overarchingly speak to that. I do know of, if we're talking about any opportunities for folks to assist with public safety agencies and advertising, I do know that there is a rough draft, which is why it hasn't been included on here, but we hope that next year we would be advertising an opportunity to assist public safety, specifically the Office of Emergency Management, with how to reach out to constituents and folks in the city with messages, public safety messages, emergency preparedness messaging, how to build a kit, what to do when you dial 911, all those kind of public safety messaging. So what that might entail would be both requests on how to compile radio spots and ad buys. So that is still in its very preliminary stages, but if all goes well, we would see that hopefully by the next end of next year, 2021. I'm not sure if that answered the question appropriately.
Thank you, Natalie. So yeah, so we'll be seeing that, and we can be following that in the buying plan right when you get a little bit more details or it gets a little more firm. But yeah, no, that's great to hear. I mean, that definitely, from what we've heard, is like that kind of work, like public relations, marketing. Sometimes that's not directly bid, but that sounds like a great application of that. Thank you. Regarding the 911 RFP, is that to be done in coordination with the city and the county together, I guess?
So that is Will speaking. So that is to be done with in coordination with the city. The actual mandate was set for July of 2020, but since the COVID scenario and a lot of our jurisdictions weren't actually ready, so they actually pushed it back to next year. So it'll actually be just in coordination with the city of Chicago.
So I think, Will, while we have you on the line, I do see the Q&A now coming in, and so a follow-up to that is just to clarify that was it done in coordination with either the city, the county or the state? So will Cook County or State of Illinois be a part of our bid, or are they just integrated into how we're proposing our components based on how they're operating?
Right, yeah, they'll all be separate, but yeah, just Chicago alone. So every city or jurisdiction will be separate, but the mandate is the same across the state, if that answers it. But the coordination will just be in the city of Chicago with us personally.
Thank you, Will. Kathy, I see another one on here that I'm happy while I'm on the unmuted to answer. Where is the new Office of Public Safety Administration? Housed at Public Safety Headquarters at 35th and Michigan.
Thank you, Natalie. Where I'm just kind of checking through to see if there any questions came through to the chat. I'm not seeing any. Any of our panelists, just kind of want to confirm if you'd received any questions through your chat features. Okay, well, I think that concludes our questions for today. I would like to thank the entire public safety team. Thanks to all of you for being here and sharing your knowledge and expertise. We will, I think as was mentioned, we will make sure to share this presentation, both the materials as well as the video on our website, and we certainly can let folks know who have been on this when that happens. And also, like I'd mentioned earlier, there will be a survey post the event. So please, if you'd like to have your name listed or shared for networking marketing purposes, then please, by all means, you can leave it. Natalie, have I covered anything? Is there anything else that you'd like to share?
No, thank you again, both for everything that the DPS team has brought to the table and for everyone that has dialed in. From the attendee side, really appreciate the opportunity to speak to you today. Public safety is grateful. And we also look forward to hearing feedback as to whether this type of new first look deep dive has been helpful to you. And even outside of the COVID world, we're happy to integrate this in future vendor opportunity events. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you all so much. We look forward to hearing from you. Please stay in touch. Have a wonderful afternoon. Take good care.